Yesterday, I spent the day in a lot of prayer and meditation, thinking about my parents and my dad specifically, looking through photo albums and everything, sitting in the park. You know, many of you may not know, but I am the youngest of 8 children. I'm the baby. One lonely sister, 7 brothers. Now just imagine my parents, and combined children they had together and through previous marriages. And just think, through those efforts, I have 6 brothers. My parents made 6 attempts of having that perfect son. And then that 7th time, they hit pay dirt. Oh, I'm only kidding. Sorta. Don't tell my brothers if you ever meet them. Don't ever tell them. Father's love. It's my intention today to intimately explore the heart of a father, and somehow, some way, I have to follow up from what Daniel did. I want to go and journey in the depths with you and explore a father's heart. Get into the DNA a little bit and actually celebrate all that dad is. And whenever I prepare a talk, I do very little sitting down at a desk or anything of that nature. I come up with an idea that I want to speak about. I take it to prayer and meditation, and then I kind of leave it alone. And then I just go about my day and go about my week, and it never fails. The divine never fails me. At some point throughout the week, the downloads will start coming. And although the timing of that is not always very friendly to the administrator extraordinaire that has to get information out prior to the Sunday talk, sometimes it just comes. And what was coming to me was Unity's prayer protection. And when it was first coming to me in relation to a Father's Day talk, I kind of swatted it away because initially I didn't see how it would fit. But then since it kept coming up, I decided to just let it be. And I decided to allow it to breathe and me to breathe into it and try to figure out why it is that this is coming up for me in relation to a Father's Day talk. And what I started seeing as I reflected on my own journey with my own father, and especially my journey with my own son, and now with my 4 grandchildren, yes, I have 4 grandchildren, is the same way that the divine shows up in the prayer of protection. And the prayer of protection, many people wonder how that got started. Well, it was written by Unity Poet Laureate James Dillard Freeman, and it was written as an inspirational response to soldiers fighting in the war in World War II who were crying out and calling and writing to Silent Unity, wanting a prayer of protection as they engaged in battle, as they engaged in fighting for our country. And so from that cry, James became inspired and opened himself up, and he allowed himself to be the beautiful channel to this wonderful prayer. We affirm it every Sunday at the end of service. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And you could change the me to you or us, whatever the situation is. But it kept coming up for me because what I realized is many of these things that God seeks to do in our lives cosmically and divinely is some of the very same things that fathers seek to do for their children physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And so I began to sit with this and realized that in my own experience with my own dad, I experienced a lot of what this prayer entails. So I decided to incorporate it in the talk today and just expound on it relative to a father's love and a father's heart. Dads give off a very unique and particular light to their families and their children. Dads and anyone who had to play the role of dad. And dads give off this particular light. Whether that dad is a very talkative person or whether that dad is a person of few words, they have a way of giving off light that makes children feel secure, that makes children feel love. One of the ways that my dad gave off his light is that he was always guiding, always instructing, always teaching, always wanting to make the way forward very clear for me and my siblings. And my dad would always talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about life, about the world. He would talk and talk and talk, and he would keep talking until we got it. Then he would talk and talk and talk and just keep talking, wanting to make sure that he got it. So much so that I hear him talking today, and I'm always in conversation with him, always learning from him. And even though my dad has passed on, I don't feel that relationship has ended. It's just changed. It's just different. And he still talks, and I still talk with him. And as I experience things in life, I often find myself saying, okay, Daddy, how do I navigate this? You didn't tell me about this one. I want a do-over. So dads give off this particular light. A dad's love. Man, a dad's love just makes you feel, whether your dad is physically present or whether he's not physically present, it makes you feel held and secure. At least that's the way that I feel with my dad. And I love it when my son always texts me and he calls me just to tell me that he loves me. And what's beautiful is he's doing more of that lately. And I don't know why that is, but I'm definitely enjoying it. A father's love is an affirming love. It's a love that allows the child to experience intimacy with dad. And when I say intimacy, I don't mean anything inappropriate. I mean intimacy in the very enlightened iteration, into me see. When a father's love is right, when it is pure, that father sees into that child, and he sees the beauty of that child. And that father wants to do everything that he possibly can to honor and nurture that inner beauty so that that child grows into its own beauty, its own splendor. And as that child comes of age, that boy, that girl, whatever, grows into being who he or she truly is. That nurturing and affirming love that says, I see you and you're good. I see you and you're wonderful. I see you and you're beautiful. And I'm just going to love you and embrace you and honor you for who you are. A dad's love protects. It's powerful. It conveys strength. A dad wants to ensure that the family and the children are always in safe space, whether the family and children are in dad's physical presence or whether the family and children are not in dad's presence. A dad wants to make sure that his family is always safe, always protected, always in an environment physically, emotionally, psychologically, where the family can be loving and the family can interact in healthy and balanced ways, where the family can be nurtured into being what God is seeking to do in and through that family. And dads are always interested in ensuring that the family is protected. Dads watch over. Now, we all know as parents that we can't always physically be with our children 24/7, even though we may like to, even though we might want to be around them all the time to make sure that they're protected and safe. But I believe that when dad is done right, when dad is done in a healthy and balanced way, children always feel that their dad and their mom and their parents are always present in some way, shape, or form, whether they're physically around or not. I know that's true with the case of my parents. I never believe that my parents are not with me. I know that wherever they are, God is, and I know that they're always with me. And it's because they made the moments count when they were physically present. They made the moments count when I had a chance to interact with them. And even though that love didn't always come in forms that I liked, I did a lot of mischievous things. Very loving, but very mischievous. And sometimes Dad's love came in ways that was warm and enfolding and very present. And other times, Dad's love came in ways that was very warm. They would call that abusive today, but it's still very warm. Dad's presence watches over. Dad's presence is assurance. Dad's presence is loving. And when Dad is done right, the children grow and evolve, and they come to behold their own beauty and their own splendor. And as I was going through Scripture, looking through Scripture that would fit today, I came across 3 Peter chapter 1, verse 4, when it talks about, "For I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth of who they are, walking in the truth of spiritual light and spiritual principle that empowers and equips them to be who they are, walking in the truth of their own Christ indwelling." My dad used to say that the job of a father is to save children from themselves until they grow to the point to where they can save their own self. And I can definitely relate to it. And he also used to say that by the time a child grows to realize that dad was right, his own children are now telling him that dad is wrong. That's that cycle of life. That's that cycle of life. So today, on this Father's Day, if you're a father, take time to breathe. Breathe and feel into your body. Take in the moment. Take in all the love that's going to come your way today. And no doubt, you might receive some gifts today. But be sure that for whatever presents presents, that you receive, make sure that today is a day of presence, presence. If you're celebrating your father, you're going to get to see him today, and you'll get to hold him in your arms. Or maybe dad is a distance away in another city or another state, and you can only hold him in your heart as you make that phone call. Or perhaps dad's days on earth have passed, and you can only hold him in your memories. Make sure you honor him today. Make sure you express gratitude for who he was and who he is and how he showed up and blessed your life. If you are a person, when you think of dad, the memories aren't pleasant. The memories aren't happy. Either because dad was less than perfect, maybe in how he showed up, maybe in how he treated you, or maybe dad was less than present and not too much of a factor in your life. I'm not going to be the one to tell you that you shouldn't feel the way that you feel. Perhaps you are that dad that may be carrying a little guilt because you wish you could have had a do-over. You wish that maybe you could have shown up better, and you carry hurt and guilt for that. Whether you are that child that is hurting because dad wasn't around or very present, or if you were that non-around, non-present dad, that very God that James Dillett Freeman affirmed in that prayer of protection, that very same God is a God of healing. And in the very last line of that prayer, wherever you are, God is. So if you are willing, because God is ever present right where you are, healing is possible. Reconciliation is possible. Restoration is possible. And the only thing that it takes, as Daniel Nahmod so beautifully said in that song, is to change your mind, change your heart. And if you're willing to change your mind and change your heart, I know and affirm that divine guidance will come your way that will fill you up to let you know what steps need to be taken for that healing journey. So celebrate today. Be loving today. Be open today. Happy Father's Day. God bless you.